In the X Mansion, the X-Men stand together as they look at Rachel and Emma. They telepathically explain that they feel that something is very wrong. Rachel senses a presence that feels similar to Charles Xavier, while Emma cannot feel her daughter Fyra's presence anymore. The team is confused until Beak begins to sniff the air and senses a familiar presence. Just then, Polaris comes rushing into the mansion with Surge behind her. Lorna introduces Surge to the team and explains the situation. The mutants are afraid when they hear that Sinister is alive. Beak is physically shaking and Gwenpool holds its hand. Oliver is confused, so he asks who Cassandra Nova is, and Emma Frost explains that she is the sister of Charles Xavier, who is one of the most powerful telepaths alive. She wasn't aware if she was still alive after the Ultron Revolution, but now fears what she will do. Just then, a big explosion in front of the X-Mansion happens, and the X-Men make their way to the front, with Emma using her telepathy to tell all the students to go and hide. The X-Men go out, and they see Cassandra Nova with her Brotherhood of Mutants standing beside her. Mr. Sinister, Slither, Mammomax, Marrow, Maystorm, and Watersnake. Emma and Polaris look concerned as they see Farah standing with Cassandra. Emma asks, "What is this?" and Cassandra explains that their brothers and sisters are far and few, that their time for revolution is now, before the mutant gene is erased from existence. Rachel says that sounds a lot like what Magneto usually said. Cassandra merely scoffs at the idea of being compared to Magneto. She says the constant bickering between Magneto and her brother Charles was one of the reasons why Ultron was able to wipe out Genosha and the billions of innocent mutant lives. All she wants to do is bring mutants back to where they deserve to be, in the forefront of the world, and she hasn't come to offer the X-Men a spot in her new world. Wolverine says she's not into the idea, as she charges towards Cassandra, but she simply snaps her fingers, sending a psychic blast that launches Laura away. Gwendolyn, Oliver, and Beak go to check on her, as Rachel says that whatever she's planning won't work. Cassandra merely chuckles as herself and her Brotherhood begin to leave, and Polaris screams out to Watersnake, but she doesn't listen. Juggernaut charges towards the group, but Maystorm creates a massive wind blast that puts Juggernaut up in the air and he falls. Rogue flies into the air to catch him, but they see that the Brotherhood are gone. A few hours later, the Brotherhood are in their lair as Sinister is making the final touches of Project Children of the Atom. Maystorm looks at Marrow as she is training, while Mammomax and Slither are playing some cards. Maystorm looks to to Farah, as she is just standing next to Cassandra. Maystorm asks Marrow what exactly they plan to do, and Marrow says their plan is to bring back mutant kind. Mammomax and Slither chime in, saying that if the X-Men stop them, they'll kill them. Maystorm is a little worried, but Cassandra looks to her and asks if she's ready, as she reminds her of the life Maystorm had before Cassandra found her. Maystorm's hand begins to emit lightning and looks to Cassandra, looking ready to complete the project. Cassandra smiles and looks on a TV to see a conference happening on the Statue of Liberty. In the X-Mansion, Surge, Emma, and Rachel use their abilities to locate Cassandra or Farah, but to no avail. Beak looks at an old photo of himself before his mutation came, and Gwendolyn looks to him and asks what he's thinking about. He questions how Sinister could still be alive, and Gwendolyn makes a joke, saying that's because Adrian brought him back to life when Reyes made it seem he was dead. Beak laughs. He explains that what Sinister did to him when they first faced him, he still remembers everything, all the pain and suffering he went through, but what made him survive was the memories he made with the X-Men. Beak goes in to kiss Gwenpool, but she pulls back, saying that maybe they should get ready, and Beak agrees. Wolverine shows Becca and Oliver their rooms, and Becca sees Laura down, and she asks what's the matter. Laura explains that she knows Farah is under Cassandra's control, and with Sinister still around, they're going to make a move soon. Just then, Emma calls out to all the X-Men and tells them to meet by the Blackbird. The team unites, and Emma shows the team that the Statue of Liberty is being surrounded by a storm, and they can deduce that's where Cassandra is, and that's where Farah will be. The team prepares themselves with Surge, Gambit, and Rogue, each receiving new suits for themselves. The team enters the Blackbird and make their way to the Statue of Liberty. On the Statue of Liberty, the Brotherhood hold the conference members hostage as Sinister begins to prepare the machine, and Cassandra looks at the humans. She says that the Statue of Liberty, the symbol of freedom, will now be the symbol of the demise of those who opposed all mutants. Just then, an alarm goes off, and the Brotherhood see the Blackbird arriving, and Cassandra orders them to hold off the X-Men until the time comes. The X-Men land on Liberty Island, and and they make their way to see an army of Sinister clones running towards them. The X-Men fight off the army as Mammal Max charges at Juggernaut. The two fight as Mammal Max yells at Juggernaut, making fun of him that he's not even a mutant. And Juggernaut laughs, saying that just because he isn't a mutant doesn't mean he still can't fight to do the right thing for mutant kind. Juggernaut throws Mammal Max into the river and makes his way to fight the other Sinister clones. Rachel takes down a few more clones, but gets ambushed by Water Snake as she screams at Rachel, blaming her for Esme and Jubilee's death, saying that she had the power to stop them, but she wanted to save a world that doesn't care about mutants. Rachel uses her telekinesis to hold her back, but fails as Farah stabs Rachel in the stomach. Rachel falls to the ground, and as Farah is about to strike the killing blow on Rachel, Polaris comes from behind and puts her father's old helmet onto Farah, awakening her from her mind control. Farah falls to the ground with Emma holding her, and she asks her if she's okay, and Farah begins to break down crying, apologizing for everything she did, and Emma says she has nothing to apologize for. Cassandra sees this and sends a mind blast to Emma and Rachel, knocking them down. The X-Men see this and make their way to the statue, but are stopped by Marrow and Slither. Gambit and Surge say they'll deal with them. The four mutants get into a fight that ends with Becca taking down Marrow and Surge taking down Slither. The other X-Men enter the statue and see Maelstrom create a mini tornado inside the statue as Cassandra breaks into Beak and Gwenpool's minds, showing each other their deepest fears. Beak sees himself going through Sinister's experiments, and Gwenpool sees herself alone with no one else around. The two try to break out of the illusions but are taken down by Sinister. Cassandra launches Juggernaut away as Wolverine stands in front of Cassandra. Wolverine tries to kill her, but Maelstrom comes from behind and blasts her with lightning. Cassandra laughs as she knows she will win. Wolverine speaks to Maelstrom, asking her if she really thinks if this is what she wants, and in a moment of doubt, she is launched into a wall, being knocked out by Cassandra. She activates her machine, and it sends a blast of energy across the world that begins to affect humans all over. Cassandra looks with grandeur until she is stabbed by Farah, who does everything she can to kill her. Cassandra laughs, knowing that even if she died now, she already won. Farah stops herself from killing Cassandra and goes to check on her mother. Sometime later, the X-Men regather themselves and learn that both Cassandra and Sinister have escaped. But not only that there has been a surge in the X gene. Millions of people around the world have had their mutant powers awoken. The X-Men realize that this is what Cassandra really wanted, a world where mutants return and the power struggle over who will be more dominant has returned.